High School, and I will be introducing our first two judges. First up, the Honorable Mildred Caban, Chief Judge at the U.S. Bankruptcy Court in the District of Puerto Rico.
Thank you. Buenas tardes. I'm going to share a little bit about my story. I'm New Yorican. That means I was born and raised in New York City by Puerto Rican parents. And I'm going to focus my story on junior high school. And I remember vividly the first day of my 7th grade class. My mom and my aunt went to register me at the school. I wasn't going to school in New York City. I was going to be attending school in Guayama, Puerto Rico, a rural town in the south side of the island. And my mom and my aunt were trying to convince the principal not to leave me back and put me to repeat the 6th grade. And also to convince her to put me in the class with my cousin, because my cousin will help me with Spanish. And so I could, speak it, I could, communicate with my mom, but not 7th grade level. And forget about reading or writing Spanish. So the principal agreed. And I had to now live with my cousin and my uncle Monday through Friday. And on the weekends, I would live with my mom and my grandma and the rest of the family. So in addition to missing my home, getting familiar with a new school, doing a deep dive into Spanish, I started the 7th grade in Puerto Rico, but then I finished the 7th grade in New York City, the Bronx. And even while I was in the Bronx, I went to different schools. I lived in different neighborhoods, so that meant I had to be moved around, and sometimes I was in a school for just a month. I started the 8th grade in New York City, and then I finished the 8th grade in Puerto Rico. So it was some tough times, lots of changes, a lot of uncertainty, and what helped me get through that period in my life was the love of reading and wanting to go to college. So one of the schools I went to, there may be a month, a teacher just handed me a book. It wasn't an assigned reading, it was my book. And I didn't have to return this book. And I started to read this book, and I was like, wow, I can see the characters in my head. And I wanted to read more and more books. And during this period, I had a god sister. She was older, and she used to tell me, Mildred, you're smart. You're going to go to college. You're going to go to an Ivy League school. You're going to go to Columbia University. And she drilled this in my head. So fast forward, now I'm a senior in high school in the Bronx, and I go to a college fair. And I'm looking for that Columbia table. So I find the table, I go there, and can I have a college application? And the young man behind the table tells me, no, you can't come here. I was like, what? And he tells me, Columbia University has different colleges. Columbia College is an all-male school. That was at that time, now it's co-ed. You have to go to our sister school, that's Barnard College. Their table was over there. So I ran over there to get my college application. I was the first in my family to graduate from high school. I got accepted to Barnard College, And I went to New York University School of Law, graduated from there, and a year later, I voluntarily chose to live in Puerto Rico. I accepted a job as a law clerk for a federal district court judge. So I got to finish up. Sorry about that. So I'm a junior law clerk, and the judge gets assigned 3 bankruptcy cases. And the senior law clerk tells me, those babies are yours. And I had never, ever taken a bankruptcy course in law school. So I had to learn this subject matter, and I became interested. So at the end of my clerkship, I started interviewing for law firm jobs, and I expressed this interest in bankruptcy law. A law firm hired me. 3 weeks on the job, they sent me to bankruptcy court to argue a bankruptcy case, and the rest is history. So I've been sitting for 12 years, but I just want to encourage you. Do what you love. You can do it. You're smart. You're able to do it. And that will help you to keep focused, to be determined, and to be responsible to get it accomplished. So I just wish you well. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Johnny Morales. I'm a 12th grader here at Cypress Creek High School, and I'm going to welcome the Honorable Charles Walker, Judge, U.S. Bankruptcy Court, and from the Middle District of Tennessee.
So good afternoon. We have just a few minutes, but I want to say how wonderful it is to stand here, because I was born and raised not far from here. I grew up in Brevard County, graduated from Astronaut High School, and I have not been back to speak to kids since the 80s, so this is special for me to be in front of you. When I went to school, Florida looked very different. I'm old enough to be the first generation to actually graduate and spend their whole time in integrated schools. When I started high school, the integrated school that I went to was only 10 years old. There were no teachers that looked like me. There were very few students that looked like me. But I grew up in the shadows of Kennedy Space Center, so I knew that I always looked up. Seeing the Apollo mission, seeing the space shuttle, it's what motivated me to always dream. Something that Justice Sotomayor said about being curious. You're only going to find what your destiny is and what your path is and what you enjoy by being curious. And as you read, as you learn, as you explore, you will decide and find what is the right fit for you. So that's what I did. I read, asked questions, and decided to go to college in Alabama. Again, the time in the 80s when I went, Auburn University was not the most pleasant place for people of color. I got involved in a lawsuit that was integral in helping level the playing field for all people in Alabama. And that showed me the power of the law. It showed me that a person can make a difference. And although my life goal was to be a pilot in the Air Force, I changed my goal to want to be a lawyer. If you have studied history, you understand that the Cold War happened. It ended in 1990. The military went through a significant reduction. And so my dream of becoming a pilot didn't happen. But that was really the lesson in my life, because it allowed me to become a lawyer sooner. And it allowed me to pursue this lifelong goal of helping people. The two things that I've learned: your altitude in life is determined by your attitude and how you treat other people. If you're going to do anything important, you can't do it by yourself. And always choose to be kind rather than negative. Do you hang out with people who are mean and make you cry? You hang out with people that make you laugh and encourage you. That doesn't change once you leave high school. It only gets more important. Because as you go through life, it's going to be difficult. So combine curiosity with association and you get opportunities. And that's really the story of my life, that I had people who nurtured me throughout my life, saw something in me and encouraged me. But it was because I was curious. I went and looked and asked and explored. So I became a lawyer in 1999, moved to Nashville, Tennessee, and I had a judge who I was appearing before pull me aside and say, I think you have something, you could be a judge. I couldn't have imagined it had somebody not shown me the way. So the opportunity you just had here to hear as Supreme Court Justice, if I had had that opportunity, where could I be today at your age? So take this as an opportunity and an example of what you can do and achieve and dream of. And don't make it something you can't obtain. Because as you heard from her talk, she was not extraordinary, but she had a vision. And that made her extraordinary because she didn't give up. And when life is getting tough, you don't stop in that tough part, you keep going. And so I was appointed a bankruptcy judge in 2016, and I've been a judge in Nashville, Tennessee since then. But I also have been able to continue to serve my country in the military. And so now I'm a 2-star general and a bankruptcy judge. And that gives me the opportunity to do something, impact my community. So dream big, dream often, and associate yourself with people who are encouraging you and moving well. So again, thank you for letting me tell you a little bit about me and for enjoying that beautiful speech from Justice Sotomayor. And I wish all of you your very best. So dream and do. It's not impossible. Thank you.
Our third judge is the Honorable Laura Grant, a judge in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court in the Southern District of Illinois.
Thank you. Yeah, I come from the Southern District of Illinois. Woo! I don't come from anywhere near as glamorous as Millie or Chuck. I come from farm fields and coal mines and places where women aren't expected to achieve much of anything. At least when I was young. Now that world has changed a bit. And so how did I get to now? I was supposed to talk about our story today. Well, when I was little, my folks didn't have a lot of money, and for fun, they sent me to live with my grandma in the summers. And she lived in an even smaller town than I grew up in, a town of 1,600 people, the biggest littlest town in southern Illinois. And I would wash, after Grandma came home from work, she worked in a shoe factory, she'd been a farmer most of her life. A couple nights a week, we get to watch TV. We had 5 whole channels on the TV back then. And one of the shows we would watch is Perry Mason. If you read Justice Sotomayor's book, that's a show she watched. It was a show about an attorney. And as I watched that show, I just loved him, and I could see my grandma really loved him too, and that meant a lot to me. Even though later I found out from my grandmother, when I told her I was going to go to law school, she goes, in a thick German accent, you know what they say, el lawyer is a liar. And I thought, that was nice, Grandma. Well, that's really, a lot of enthusiasm there to tell me a lawyer's a liar. So she said, so you're going to have to work hard if you want to be a lawyer, because you don't want people to think you're a liar or that you're not truthful and honest. And I want to be like the guy on TV. I want to be like Perry Mason. Because Perry Mason, he was looking for justice all the time. He was looking for the rights of taking care of the rights of his client. And you knew he was noble in what he did, and plus he was really good looking in those dark suits. And I just wanted to be like him, because who doesn't want to be the hero of the story, right? And who doesn't want to be a hero to somebody else like his clients? So my grandma said, okay, if you want to do that, you got to plan your day and follow your plan. Because it's going to be a long journey for you. To get to be an attorney, you got to go through 4 years of college and then 3 years of law school. So, and my folks didn't have any money, remember? So I had to figure out, how am I going to do this? I had to plan my day and follow my plan. Well, when I got to high school, I asked my counselor, well, how can I be an attorney? How is that going to happen for me? And she said, well, you need to make really good grades, and then you'll have to get into a good college, and then in college you'll have to make really good grades, and then you'll have to get into law school. Well, I had one big problem. I am a slow reader. I read really slow. And when I take those nationalized tests, SAT and ACT, I would have to practice and work to really do well on those tests because while I got the answers right, I couldn't finish the test. I was a slow reader. So I had to plan my plan here. How can I get into law school if I don't do that well on the SAT? How can I get a scholarship for college if I can't, rank up on those ACT tests? I had to build a good resume. So what I did was, when I was in high school, I joined everything. I was in the band, I was in the chorus, I'm a card-carrying thespian. I was president of the student council, I was a class officer, I was on the first school's basketball team. I wrote for the newspaper, I wrote for the yearbook. I did everything I could to build this resume so that when I sent my application into college, somebody would take me. I also made straight A's because that helps too. Because I knew when I took those big national tests, I wasn't going to look that great. But it worked. I got into college, and even better, I got a full ride scholarship to any school in the state of Illinois. So and as part of that scholarship, I also got a job on campus and was able to do a work study, so I got a little pocket money as well. So now I'm in college. Now I got the same thing. I got to rebuild this resume, right? Because I went to law school, and I know when I take that LSAT, I'm probably not going to do that well on it because I get the questions right, but I'm not going to finish it. I'm a slow reader. And so I did the same thing in college. I made straight A's. I was the #1 student in my department, and I was one at the top of my class when I graduated. And I also did extracurricular activities on campus, and I worked while I was in college. And sure enough, I got into law school, and I got a scholarship to get into law school. So that all worked out for me. So now I'm an attorney, and things are great, and I get to practice in bankruptcy law, which is a really cool thing. Bankruptcy is cool because it's a little bit of everything. One day you might be figuring out a farm case and helping somebody with their cattle, and it was this dairy farmer going to make it. Another day as an attorney, you might have a copper smelter, which I had, and they're polluting the earth and trying to figure out how they're going to reorganize. And it's always something different happening in bankruptcy law, and that's why I love it so much. But in Southern Illinois, we only had one bankruptcy judge, Judge Myers. And that's the judge I appeared in front of all the time. And I really liked him. He was fair, he was impartial. And most of all, no matter what side of the case you had, whether you liked it or not, you felt like you were heard when you were in front of him. You felt like he understood your position. He may not have agreed with it, but you felt like he heard you. And that was important to me. And watching him up there, I just thought, man, I'd like to be a judge someday. Well, the problem was we only had one judge in the Southern District of Illinois. So for me to get that job, I got to wait for him to retire, which took 26 years. And so in 2010, he finally retired. But between the time I realized I wanted that job and when it became available, once again, I thought, I got to build a resume for this job. How can I stand out when I apply for this job and make it? And so I started speaking. Anytime there was a seminar or something, somebody wanted to speak, oh yeah, I'll speak. And I got out in front of people so that my name would be known a little bit. If they needed somebody to write a chapter for a book or something, I'd write materials for a book. Whatever I could to build a resume that when I applied for the job, I would be able to stand out a little bit. But the biggest opportunity I had, I almost missed. And this is the part where Stephen already picked up, because this is really important. I had an opportunity to argue a case in front of the Supreme Court of the United States, which is a really big deal to get to argue a case in front of Justice Sotomayor. And why is that a big deal? Because they only hear about 100 cases a year. That means one person on each side, 200 attorneys maybe. That was back then. That was in 1998. Now, they only hear about 80 cases. So maybe only 160 people get the opportunity to argue in the Supreme Court. So I was nervous. I was in a small firm in Southern Illinois. I'm practicing my argument in front of my 5 partners at the big conference room. My opponent is a big firm in a big city. His firm's spending lots of money helping him to train for this opportunity to argue in the Supreme Court. They're sending him to do a mock argument up in Washington, D.C. I'm practicing in front of my big conference room. And I got nervous. And I went to my client and I said, Doctor, his name was Dr. Geiger. Dr. Geiger, You know, there are big firms that do nothing but have attorneys that argue in front of the Supreme Court. Maybe you want to hire one of them instead of me. And he looked at me and he said, no, I want you. You know my case better than anyone else. I want you. And it was that moment in my life where I really had to just buck up, because here was this person who believed in me when I doubted myself. And that was a big deal. And I went ahead and I argued that case. I practiced day and night. I read everything possible. I read questions that I studied the justices to see what types of things do they ask in other cases, so I would kind of be able to prepare for what they might ask me. And I won that case. I won that case 9-0. And after that moment, you know, it made such a difference in my resume. Because now when I walked in a room of bankruptcy attorneys, somebody would say, hey, you know, that lady over there, she argued a case in front of the Supreme Court. And what was even something I didn't know until the day I argued was that there were only 3 women that year that argued in front of the Supreme Court. I'm glad I didn't know that in advance. I'd be even more nervous. But it was something that had I missed that opportunity, had I not believed in myself, I don't think I'd be standing here today. I don't think my resume would have stood out enough. So whenever you get the opportunity to do anything that can help you get forward in life, help you get to that next goal, do it. Believe in yourself, because you can do it. If I can do it, I'm a slow reader. You can do it. You look like it. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I appreciate it.
Now for our last, but certainly not least, I'm happy to welcome the Honorable Mina Nami Karami, Judge, U.S. Bankruptcy Court in the Southern District of Ohio.
Good afternoon. This is a pleasure and a treat to be with you this afternoon. You all are the future of our country and have the potential of making a difference in your own life and the lives of people around you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you. It really is a treat. I am an immigrant. I was born in Tehran, Iran. Iran is a country in the Middle East. I came to the United States in the summer of 1977 to visit my brother for the summer. I thought I was going to go back to Tehran to finish high school. I still had a year to finish. I never went back. My family knew that Iran was in a turmoil political situation, and we had a revolution in 1979, so they got me out before it was too late. As soon as I knew I wasn't going to go back to Iran, I enrolled in the GED classes and got my GED diploma. Had I known better, I would have gone to high school, because I would have understood the cultural norm a little bit better. Then after I got my GED, I went to college in State College in St. Louis, Missouri. Being an immigrant, we all had to work because we had to pay for the expenses. We didn't have any resources in this country. So I worked in the library while I went to college. Right after I finished college, with the help of my brother, I enrolled in law school. I always wanted to be an attorney. So I worked in various jobs in law school. English is my second language, so it was not easy for me to understand all of the legal terms. So in those days, we didn't have the internet. The English and the law dictionaries were my friend. I used to look up every word that I didn't understand and make a list. My list was very long in the beginning, and every night I would go over that list and try to remember what those words meant. As I read over the years, my list became smaller. I still look up words today, except on the internet instead of the dictionary. In law school, I had 2 teachers who were very kind to me. They understood where I came from, and they would spend extra time helping me understand the legal concepts that was difficult for me to figure out. I know that all of you have those kind teachers and mentors in school. Don't hesitate to ask questions. You'll be surprised there are so many people that are willing to help you. After law school, I started to work first in a small firm and then in a medium-sized firm in St. Louis, Missouri. After I established myself in St. Louis, Missouri for about 5 years, I married my husband and then moved to Columbus, Ohio because he couldn't move to St. Louis. Then I had to start all over again. He suggested that I start my own firm. I had 5 years of experience, so I started my own office. I had to work really hard and figure out how I can make a living being an attorney in Columbus, Ohio, not knowing many people. The way I did it was I joined a lot of different organizations and committees. Those committees helped our profession, our legal profession, and also our community. And through those organizations, I got to meet a lot of other colleagues and judges who got to know me and started liking me, started knowing that I can do the job and believe in me, and they became my mentors. I think it's a lot easier in any career you choose to have mentors. So you have those mentors all around you. Just reach out, make a connection, be friendly. It makes a difference. I would share with you that there were many, many times where I thought I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't going to be a good attorney, that I couldn't compete with my peers. And there were many times that I wanted to give up. But my family, my mother and my older brother and sister, continued to remind me that through hard work that I can accomplish anything, that to be independent, I need to get educated and I needed to do what I had to do to work hard to reach my goals. That I couldn't give up. That giving up was not an option. I would also share with you that you need to be able to understand what you read, to comprehend what you read. You need to be able to write well in any career you choose. If you don't like to read, listen to radio, podcasts, book on tapes. I think it is important to learn about as much as you can about any area. No one can take away your knowledge. Knowledge is power. I will share with you, try not to pay any attention to negative voices in your head. Stay humble and treat everyone with respect. One of my favorite sayings is what goes around comes around. People will notice how you behave and how you treat people around you. Seek people who believe in you and encourage you to do better. Listen to your parents and teachers. They know what's good for you. And finally, allow yourself to dream big. Work toward your dreams, find your passion. I appreciate the time you've given me to share my life.
Let's give another round of applause for them, please. All right, so now I want to give a special thanks to Mrs. Linda Colbert, and I would like to call her up to give us words of wisdom.
So we're almost ready to go back to school. It's the end of our time together. But a couple of things I just want you to take away from today. Your principals and these judges who have come from all over the country have come here today for you, to inspire you, because you are important, because you are worth it, because you can do something big, no matter where you came from, no matter if you're poor, no matter what your ethnicity is, no matter what circumstance you come from. I am the first in my family to go to and graduate from college, and it is only because of my education that I'm here today. I got to be elected to public office to represent you all and give you opportunities like this. So be inspired. Listen to what Justice Sotomayor said. We have 205 schools in Orange County, and your schools and you were chosen to be here today to listen to her words of inspiration because you are important because you are worth it and you're going to do great things. Now, as you exit today, the judges have one more gift for you. They have a journal for all of you that you can go home, write about your experience today, write about what you heard, write about your feelings, and maybe what you want to do in the future. So thank you again to our wonderful judges who have come from all over the country. Thank you to your principals who spent almost a year working on this to put this together for you. And thank you, Dr. Scanlon, who really led the way to put this together. Give it to you, Principal Mendez. And thank you, students, for having such great manners. I'm so proud of you in front of these guests. You have been wonderful, wonderful students, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Mrs. Linda Colbert. What a treat. Oh my goodness. I am so moved, and I hope everyone has taken notes in your head. And when you get your journal, please write. If there's anything that you heard today, remember consistently the power of dreaming, the power of education, the power of reading and not giving up. Thank you for your inspirational stories. You have given me a new sense of purpose on how we can continue to change the lives of students. Thank you so much. I need Ariana Ishmael from Suarez's class. You're being signed out. Okay, we're going to start by saying goodbye to our elementary school, Meadowwoods Elementary, because they have to leave. They have about 6 minutes, so we're going to start with the elementary school. Thank you, say hello, and thank you to Ms. Figueroa. We also want to shout out our language arts and reading teachers from Cypress Creek High School, right? Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Scanlon, Zambrano, Valenti, the leadership team that has been supporting through this event, and everyone who has read